Welcome back to Nature's Fury, where we explore the raw power of nature's most destructive forces. In this episode, we bring you the harrowing story of Tropical Storm Helen, which has battered the Carolinas with relentless rain, powerful winds, and widespread flooding. From Asheville to Charlotte, the storm has left a trail of destruction, resulting in massive power outages and, tragically, the loss of life. Unbelievable footage of floods sweeping through Asheville. Early Friday morning, Tropical Storm Helen unleashed its fury on North Carolina, pummeling the state with heavy rains and wind gusts so strong they sent cars floating down streets in Asheville. Shocking footage shows floodwaters sweeping a car away in a matter of seconds. More than 500,000 people in North Carolina were left without power, with the hardest hit areas being the mountains and the greater Charlotte region. As the storm raged on, 2 deaths were reported, one of a 4-year-old child in Catawba County and another in Charlotte. North Carolina officials declared a state of emergency, urging people in flood-prone areas near the French Broad and Swannanoa rivers to evacuate before the storm's worst impact hit Friday night. Record flooding and landslides, the storm's deadly aftermath. The National Weather Service has compared the record flooding to the devastating floods of 1916, which took 80 lives and caused massive infrastructure damage. With more than 30 centimeters, 12 inches of rain already fallen, landslides have become a terrifying reality in many parts of the state. Rivers have swelled beyond their banks, threatening to wash away roads and bridges. One mudslide even sent an entire lane of Interstate 40 into the swollen Pigeon River, forcing the highway's closure near the North Carolina-Tennessee state line. Experts warn that the conditions are life-threatening, and officials are pleading with residents to heed evacuation warnings immediately. Asheville and surrounding towns like Biltmore Forest and Weaverville are on high alert as floodwaters continue to rise. A storm of historic proportions, how Helen caught everyone by surprise. Tropical storm Helen intensified quickly after making landfall on the Florida Panhandle late Thursday. Within 12 hours, the storm had traveled over 480 kilometers, 300 miles into the Carolinas, bringing winds that gusted up to 174 kilometers per hour, 108 miles per hour, atop Mount Mitchell, the highest peak east of the Mississippi River. Many experts attribute the rapid strengthening of Helen to the increasing warmth of the oceans, which fuels hurricanes and other tropical storms. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper stressed the urgency of the situation, noting that roads in western parts of the state are too dangerous to travel, with many already washed out or blocked by fallen trees. Communities evacuated as dams near failure. As Helen's torrential rains continue, officials are particularly concerned about the Lake Lure Dam, which has been overwhelmed by water, causing erosion along one side of the structure. If the dam fails, the consequences could be catastrophic for downstream communities. Emergency action plans have been activated, with evacuation sirens blaring to warn residents of the imminent danger. Evacuations are currently underway, and shelters have been set up in nearby high schools and churches to provide refuge for those fleeing the floodwaters. Authorities are working around the clock to ensure that everyone in the affected areas reaches safety before the worst happens. Swift water rescues and widespread destruction. Rescue teams have been performing swift water rescues throughout the state, saving lives from rapidly rising waters. Many roads, including major highways like Interstate 26 and Interstate 40, have been closed due to flooding or mudslides, further complicating the evacuation efforts. Crews are focused on saving lives first, with recovery and cleanup efforts expected to follow once the storm passes. The storm has already caused significant damage to homes, businesses, and infrastructure. In some places, the power is expected to remain out for days, leaving residents in the dark as emergency responders struggle to restore essential services. A tornado's destructive path. In addition to flooding and landslides, Tropical Storm Helen spawned tornadoes in some areas, including Nash County, where 4 people were critically injured when a tornado ripped through the town of Rocky Mount. More than a dozen buildings were damaged, and residents described a scene of chaos as the storm unleashed its full fury. One witness, Sonny Cardinale, recounted the terrifying moment when the tornado hit. He was dining at a local restaurant with his granddaughter when everything began to spin. "I ran to them and grabbed everyone I could," Cardinale said. "We were lucky to get out of there alive." A crisis unfolds as rivers continue to rise. Several rivers in western North Carolina are at or near record crests, and the floodwaters aren't expected to recede until at least Monday. In Biltmore Village, just outside the famous Biltmore Mansion, rapidly moving waters from the Swannanoa River have already reached above the hoods of cars. Emergency crews expect similar scenes across the region as all the rainwater moves downhill toward the sea. Conclusion: the unstoppable force of nature. Tropical storm Helen has left the Carolinas reeling as residents continue to deal with unprecedented flooding, landslides, and the constant threat of dam failure. This storm is a reminder of nature's unpredictable and often terrifying power, and it's clear that the recovery process will be long and challenging. Here at Nature's Fury, we'll continue to bring you the latest updates on Helen's devastating impact and stories of resilience from those affected by this natural disaster. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay informed on all the latest in extreme weather events and natural disasters.